label in Golabel. First thing we're going to want to do is once it opens up, it'll open up, when you open up Golabel the first time, it should pop up with a screen that says page setup on it. And this is where you're going to want to set up your page width and height, and that's your exact label size. It's not what you're wanting to print on, it takes into account the full size of your label. So measure your label and make sure you have the exact right dimensions, otherwise you could be ending up with a paper jam on your printer and it won't print. So down in this lower right hand corner, you can click this and that'll change the unit of measurement on your software. So what we're going to want to do is click that until it switches over to inch. Then once we have that switched over to inch, you're going to want to enter in your label size, whether it be 3.5 by 5 or 2.5 by 5. So for this, we'll try 3.5 by 5.5. Default setting on here should be label with gaps, and the gap length should be 0.118. Normally that's the default, so if you have anything that's different, you're going to want to change it, but that should be the default setting. So once you have that set, you're going to hit OK, and then you'll be able to see that we have a label over here. This white area is our label, and it is 3.5 inches by 5.5 inches long, so that's going to be the area that we have to print on. And when you're setting up your label, you have to take into account any spots where you may have a logo already, so you're not going to want to put anything in that area, and you're going to want to leave yourself a little bit of a zone around the outside if you have any border on your label too that you don't want your printing to go into. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll go over the printer text. Just click on the printer text, whatever you want to use with one of these tabs over here. So we click on text and printer text, and then we'll come over to our label where we want to set up the name of the label. So on here, for instance, we would do ham sandwich. Oh. So we type in ham sandwich, and then we can click on font type right here. And when you click on font type, there's the default font, which I think is size 12 or size 10. But you can come in here and click that drop down arrow and you can pick whichever size you want. So if we go with size 18, then we can come down here, hit OK. And we have our ham sandwich, and we see that's too small, so we can come back in, just double click on it, and you can go back to this, and we can change the font size just by double clicking on our text that's already on our label. And then you'll notice if you click off or you click on, that it puts these little black dots around it. That means that the text is selected. So when it is selected and has those dots around it, you can come over here to this right hand side here, and this fourth icon down is center, so that'll center it on your label. And then once you click off, you'll have your text on there and it'll be centered. Another thing you can do with this too is wrap text. For instance, if we're putting ingredients on our label, you're going to want to use wrap text. So wrap text, it'll be just the same thing as the printer text. You select it, you click on your label, and then you come in here and you can type in all of your ingredients. Type in your ingredients, and then whatever they may be, you just type them in. So once you type in some ingredients, basically then what you can do is you can see here that it has a text box width, and right now it's set at 300 dots, which is 1.476 inches. Well, we can increase that, and we know our label size is 3.5 inches wide, so it'll let you go just under 3.5 inches. Well, this label that I'm setting up will say has a border around it, so we want to make sure that we're a little bit underneath that 3.5 inches. So we'll go to just a little bit under 3.25 inches. So then we can click on here where it says font size, and this allows us to change our type of font. The default is Arial and regular, but what I'm more interested in here is changing the font size. So we can go down to like something like a size 7 font for our ingredients. So you click on size 7, hit OK. Then we should be able to come down here, hit OK. and then you can see where our ingredients are. Once again, we can double click on it if we want to add more text into the text box here. So let's say we got all our ingredients typed in now, and you can see how when it types in, you just keep typing and it'll automatically drop it down a line. Whereas if something on our regular printer text, if we just keep typing, and then let's say we hit OK, all of a sudden the line's too long and it just keeps going off our label, so it won't print all that. So if you're using a text box, what you have to do when you're using that, you have to use the return key to drop it down one line. And you just have to kind of line it up wherever you want to make the line breaks. So then you'd hit OK, and then you can see that you have your font and your text for your title of your label. So if it's ham sandwich or whatever, but so we can delete that. Another text you'll find over here is the Windows text, and this is exactly the same as the printer text, although it gives you more selections of a font size like that wrap text did. So if I come in here and go, turn my caps lock off, we go ham sandwich, and then we can come here to our font, and we have more selections of font sizes, so we can go 28 and OK, and hit OK, and then see we have a little bit larger of a ham sandwich versus that one, which is the printer text, which only has one sort of font, so you can't change that. And then this one too, if we want to come over here and we want to make it bold, we can do that by selecting bold and hit OK, and then we have that. So we can get rid of this one, and then we'll just use that as our ham sandwich. And once again, we can center that, and same thing with that. Besides that, there's going to be a barcode over here that you're going to want to be familiar with. So you can click on barcode, and first thing you're going to want to do is use this top one right here, the 1D barcode. So click on that, then come back and click on your label in the area where you want to add a barcode. So up here at the top we have symbology. This is where we're going to want to select UPCA. So you can see there's quite a few different barcodes on here, but really the only one that we're going to be interested in for this purpose of setting up a label for with a barcode is going to be the UPCA. A UPCA barcode is 12 digits, and the computer creates the last digit. So when you enter in a barcode, you're only going to enter in the first 11 digits, and the computer will automatically generate a check digit at the end. So once you put in your 11 digits, you can hit the refresh preview, and it'll show you a preview of your barcode. If you want to change the height, how tall the barcode is, you can adjust that over here. And the width as well is something you can adjust over here. So once you have that set up, you can hit OK. And then you have your barcode, and same thing, if you want to get it centered on the screen, go over here and click the center icon. And whatever else we need to add on here, we can do that as well. So we'll use printer text, and we can put a net weight on our label. So let's say we have 4.5 ounces, and we'll hit OK. So we can have a net weight on our sandwich. And if we want to put a price on there as well, we can do that too. We can click on our font, we can change our font size for that. So let's hit OK. So now we have our ham sandwich with our net weight and our price and our ingredients and our barcode. One more thing we're going to want to do is be able to put a sell by date on there if we want to put a sell by date or a use by date. First thing you're going to do, once again, select printer text. Click in the general area where you want to put that, and we're going to click up here onto data source this time. and we're going to go to setup serial, variables, date, and time. And once we're there, we'll type in sell by or use by or whatever you want it to say. And then we come down here to date and we can click on edit and we're able to select the date type that we want to use. So you can see there's quite a few options. And if you want something different, you can also click on more and you can do your own custom date where you just hit reset and you can insert. So if we do it here, we can go insert month, day, and year. And hit OK. And then after we do that, we can set our expiration date. So this is however many days out we want it to be. So let's say we have a 3-day sell period, and we can insert that. If you want on the same line, you can keep it there. If you don't, you can put in an enter, and then that'll drop it down to another line. So we hit OK. And then we have our sell by as well. And you'll notice too, if you double click on your sell by again, and you go to that data source and back where we were, in there's this calendar with a clock in front of it. If you click on that, what that does is you bring that up, it sets up your real-time clock, so you just hit OK, and it'll send the time and date over to your printer so it has the right time and date on there. If you ever notice it's not correct, that's where you'll go to fix that. So that's the basics for setting up a label. Any other things you want to add to your label or take off your label? Let's say you want to get rid of the net weight, you can just click on it and hit delete. Or if you want to change the size of something, you can just double click on it. Remember font type and make it larger. Anything you want to do, you can just do it like that. Then once you have your label finished, you're going to want to come up, click Save As, and this is where you could rename your label to what we just made, and save it. And then now you'll notice right here we have our sandwich saved. And last thing that we're going to cover here is to print. You click on printer setup. Now that we have our label set up, you're going to want to make sure that you have your right printer selected. And the model that we're using is the RT700i. You want to make sure that you have thermal transfer selected for your paper and 15 or 16 for your tear off position. Then however many you're going to want to print, you'd enter in here for your copies per label. Leave this one set at 1, and you're going to hit print, and then you should get your labels. So that's all there is for setting up the label. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My business card's on the back of the printer. Thank you.